dust of the veldt where the wind does moan. We've carved out a life in the soil and stone. They call us names, but we stand up tall. For faith and family, we've weathered it all. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. They say we're dogs, they say we're small, but we've built empires and answered the call. With the earth in our palms and the sun on our backs, we march to the rhythm of unbroken tracks. Through the storms and strife we hold the line. The roots run deep like the old oak spine. Pride in our spirit, love in our veins. The faith of our fathers forever remains. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. Through the years and miles we've walked this road, bearing the burdens, carrying the load. But the light of our fire, it will never fade. For the strength of our people will never be swayed.
Sunsets and skies so blue, mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies, they weave their weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people above it all. We know it all.
For years, the Iranian regime has called for the destruction of the State of Israel, planning and advancing concrete military plans to do so. Over the past few months, intelligence has shown that Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. This morning, the IDF began preemptive and precise strikes targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the Iranian regime's ability to build a nuclear bomb in the immediate time frame. We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world. This operation is for our right to exist here, for our future and for our children's future. The State of Israel has the right and the obligation to operate in order to protect its people and will continue to do so. The IDF conducted significant preparations for this operation. We are well prepared both in defense and offense to defend ourselves. The IDF will continue to defend the State of Israel.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Welcome back to the program, folks. It's Friday, the 13th of June, 2025. It's Friends and Family Only Friday, as Iran discovered this morning. And I'll warn you now, anti-Semitic comments will not be tolerated. Racist comments will not be tolerated in the chat. Moderators, remove people who misbehave. Now, if you want to express your opinion, express it in a respectful manner, but do not play the little racist game. We're not going to tolerate that horse manure today. Welcome back to the program to all the Neanderthals, canines, right-wing podcasters, and all of those aspiring car guards. Have I got a job for you? Aha! I will give you 200 Rand per day to watch my car. Any takers? Mess around with Israel, find out from Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, the Israeli Defense Force saved the world last night. Saved the world. Just weeks, maybe months away from deploying nuclear weapons in what would likely be a Holocaust in the Middle East. Israel has obliterated Iran's nuclear ambitions. We don't know the extent of the battlefield damage assessment, but we will have to wait and see. Iran's top leaders obliterated, except for Khamenei, their head of the military, the head of the Revolutionary Guard taken out, top scientists taken out who are collaborating to create these evil weapons that the Iranians will use in an evil fashion. And that's what we start with today. Oil soaring in price, the stock market moving sideways, dropping initially in overnight trading, but now moving sideways as the markets calm down a little bit today. And we have a lot more to talk about around the world, including China's PR stunt about no tariffs for Africa, which I published a video on recently. Also, for those of you, for those of you out there who fell prey to swindlers, I have empathy for you, but there's very little I can do for you. If you did not pay attention, if you didn't bother to go to the U.S. Embassy website, I don't understand why anybody in South Africa would think that a South African is an authority or would have inside information about how to come to the United States. I would not go to an American to tell me how to visit Europe. I would go to the country I want to go visit, their website, and find out, or contact their embassy. I don't understand how people allow themselves to be swindled like this. I have empathy, but I cannot help you. If you've been swindled, you must go to the police and file a report. If you're not willing to do that, then you just have to take your lumps. It's as simple as that. All right, folks? Oil prices surge as much as 14% in the aftermath of the strike against Iran. Oil futures shot higher and U.S. stock market futures sank last night. Things have leveled off a bit today as Israel hit Iran hard. 400 points. It was down 600 points last night, but now down just 400 points, and oil prices are spiking today. Dow Jones fell 600 points last night, but now it's just 400 points down. Nvidia and Tesla and other stocks had led the market's comeback from April lows. Oil and defense stocks were higher. Exxon and Chevron added 1%, and Lockheed Martin jumped 3%. Of course, Lockheed Martin makes the attack aircraft that Israel are using to go after Iran. Yeah, well, don't get too excited about the oil futures, 14%. They can come down just as quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, Israel's attack against Iran has turned Iran into a no-fly zone, essentially, a default no-fly zone for civil aviation as they smartly avoid Iran. Look at that. That is a live feed right now of air traffic over the Middle East. You can see that there is no aircraft flying over Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Iraq, or Iran, all skirting completely around. This is putting delays on international travel, as rather than flying over Iraq and Iran directly to places like Pakistan, Afghanistan, or India, flights must divert over the Caucasus Mountains and over Azerbaijan and the Caspian Sea. Turkmenistan, you can see that. This is the impact of conflict, and that's what's happening currently in Iran. Not a single aircraft. Last night we watched it as the aircraft actually diverted around Iran. It was pretty crazy. Let me see if I still have that. The image from last night. Let me see if I can find it very quickly here. I had it last night. No, I just have a screen capture. I don't have the, it's not, well, here it is. Here we go. So we'll play this from last night. This is pretty crazy. We can see as the conflict begins last night, air traffic flying over Iran. You can see it flying down a corridor through Iraq from Turkey down towards Kuwait and over the Persian Gulf. But then look what happens afterwards, folks. Check this out. This is from Flight Radar last night. And it starts at 2300 Greenwich Mean Time, which is, of course, a few hours from when the time actually took place over Iran. And watch as this develops here in about 20 seconds. Look at all the planes flying, lots of them over Iran. And then suddenly, after midnight, watch the planes start. Here they go. They start turning around and fleeing. Look at that. Look at the planes fleeing from Iranian airspace now. They turn immediately and try to get into flight patterns over Iraq instead of over Iran. Watch this now for the next several seconds. Look at all these planes fleeing the area. One plane, you saw it there, really picked up some pace and got over the Caspian Sea as quickly as possible. And suddenly, in a matter of minutes, the entire airspace of Iran is completely emptied of civilian traffic. Now, of course, you don't see the military jets, the dozens of air defense, or the Israeli Air Forces flying over that because they are, of course, flying in a mode they can't be detected by flight aware. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff, huh? Pretty crazy stuff. That's what's happening over Iran in the airspace today. Iran, it was pummeled by 5 waves of aircraft attacks overnight, obliterating their air defense mechanisms, taking out key leaders and key infrastructure and nuclear facilities. It is crazy. It looks like ants scattering. That's right. Yep. Matter of just moments. Yes, absolutely. It was fascinating to see planes pick up their speed, their airspeed, and get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as they could. that was something else. Frankly, I would never have flown over Iran if I was a pilot, had I been paying attention to the news and saw that the U.S. had evacuated its personnel from our embassy in Baghdad. That would have been enough signal for me that I'm not flying anywhere near Iranian airspace. But hey, commercial airlines are stupid. They're trying to save money. So until the planes were actually bombing Iran, they were not fleeing the airspace. And then suddenly they did. Suddenly they did. Yeah, it's a blitzkrieg, Garrett. You are spot on with that. Welcome to the 833 people here on a Friday. Be sure to hit that like button, folks. Just 292 of you done that thus far. Many more can do that. Finally, South African National Defense soldiers returning from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they've been pummeled by rebels and embarrassed once again. The South African National Defense Force repeatedly beaten on the battlefield in the Central African Republic and in the Congo, embarrassed and coming home. What a sad situation for a decrepit military that's underfunded, under-resourced, and poorly led. And it's really sad to see. But that is the situation, as troops were delayed in getting back today, not on time. Group of SANDF troops due to arrive home from the DRC. The first group of South African National Defense Force troops deployed to the eastern DRC as part of the Southern African Development Community Mission are expected to return home today, but they were delayed. They're arriving at Bloemsprut in Bloemfontein at noon, except they didn't arrive at noon. The mission was sent to assist Kinshasa's fight against rebel groups, but it failed miserably, and South Africans were killed. South Africa's police minister, Senzo Mkhunu, wants to shake up the force. Says major police reforms and new trainee intake. National Police boss Senzo Mkhunu said crime levels in South Africa remain unacceptably high and outlined a series of reforms to strengthen law enforcement, and once again failed to recognize rural safety as an issue. Not a priority crime. Not a priority crime. Murder, proliferation of illegal firearms, and drug trafficking are among the critical crimes we've prioritized, but not farm murders. These crimes continue to rob families of their loved ones, destabilize communities, and undermine our nation's development. He said they are going to identify critical enablers to fight against crime, including the adoption of new technologies for better crime detection, response analysis. And what are these new technologies, Senzo? What are these new technologies? Are you just like Cyril? You just say things just to say it? Just nice words? You didn't tell us what the new technologies are. What are the new technologies? Typewriters? Teletype? Morse code? Telegraph? What are the new technologies? Senzo Mkhunu. Strengthening crime intelligence to shift toward proactive policing. Well, duh. What did I recommend in 1994? Exactly that. 31 years ago. Yeah. Upskilling detectives to improve complex investigations. Upskilling. Is that like some made-up word that means training? Upgrading forensic services to boost prosecution success. What have I been arguing for years? Forensics, DNA, detective skills, community policing. Well, thank you. Is Senzo Mkhunu stealing my talking points here? My goodness. My goodness. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. There's no money for that. And the police can't be trusted to do it. So good luck with that. Well, the rand sinks back to 18-1 against the U.S. dollar after Israel attacked Iran. The rand had strengthened to the strongest levels in about 6 months on false hope over Ramaphosa lying about a renewed trade relationship with the United States, which hasn't been renewed. But now the truth sinks back in as the rand sinks to over 18 rand to the dollar, making travel to the U.S. much more expensive. The Comrades Marathon Association has finally condemned the racist, anti-Semitic assaults and violence. Well, it is violence. You're interfering with people's running on the path in a dangerous race. They finally condemn these acts. Comrades Marathon Association has insisted its political neutrality and condemned the abuse that was directed at Israeli athletes on Sunday. But the fact that it took them days, and nearly a week to condemn the violence proves that, in fact, the Comrades Marathon Association is anything but non-political. This should have been condemned on the day, and they should have been in contact with SAPS to have those people arrested and prosecuted for their endangering of public safety. Yeah, sorry, Comrades Marathon. I don't buy that you're not a political organization. A video of Israeli athletes taking part in the race being abused by pro-Palestinian lunatics on the route has surfaced. It surfaced on the day that it happened. This isn't new. The Comrades Marathon has united people from diverse backgrounds, nationalities, and beliefs through endurance, camaraderie, and personal achievement. It's a race rooted in resilience, not politics, the statement said. Well, that's all fine and dandy, and once upon a time I would have believed that. But the way that you handled the sacking of the previous person involved with the Comrades, also the way that you handled this, leads me to believe that you're anything but apolitical. You should have condemned this when it happened, not waiting a week and sensing the wind, getting a feel for what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. Usina, 20 pounds super chat, Said thank you for all your time and efforts. Appreciate everything. Thank you so much. Thank you for the 20 pounds. I really appreciate that. This is unacceptable how long it took them. Well, a report in the Daily Investor claims that broad-based black economic empowerment has destroyed 5 trillion rand and 4 million jobs in South Africa. And I honestly suspect that that is an underestimate of what they've done to it. A new study by the Free Market Foundation and Solidarity Research Institute estimates the BEE has cost South Africa 5 trillion rand and led to the loss of 4 million jobs. There you go. Broad-based black economic empowerment policies result in a loss of 2 to 4% of GDP annually. This in turn translates up to 192,000 lost job opportunities annually in South Africa due to ridiculously slow economic growth. Over nearly 2 decades, the cumulative drag on growth amounts to more than 5 trillion in lost economic activity. Yeah, 5 trillion lost the South African economy. Yep, absolutely. This is what happens. This is what happens, folks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Except it is believable, and we have warned you about it for years. Inside the African transformation movement, where Vuyo Zungula has been replaced as president, it stems from the origins of the party, which is religious-based initially, which many people didn't realize. In a startling revelation, reliable sources have told the Independent Online that the African transformation movement has underlying motives behind the party's decision to remove Vuyo Zungula from his position as president. Insiders suggested the move was driven not by internal party politics, but by deeper tensions rooted in religious influence and power struggles involving the party's spiritual leadership. Initially, Nongula appointed Zungula the president, aligning the political wing with the church's spiritual hierarchy. However, Zungula's political profile soared, tensions emerged. Egos always come into play, do they not? Well, the Middle East airspace, as I alluded to earlier, has shut down after Israel strikes Iran. Airlines cancel flights. Airlines steered clear of much of the Middle East on Friday after Israeli attacks on Iranian sites forced carriers to cancel, divert thousands of flights in the latest upheaval to travel in the region. Proliferating conflict zones around the world are becoming an increasing burden on airline operations' profitability of more of a safety concern. Detours add airlines fuel costs and lengthy journey times. Also upset travel schedules and turnaround times for the initial flights. Disruption for airlines as canceling flights and rerouting planes to avoid Middle East airspace, CNN alerts travelers. The airspace above Iran and Israel, as well as Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, emptied of commercial flights Friday, according to Flight Radar 24, which we showed you. Israel, Iran, and Jordan all closed their airspace in the wake of the attack, while Iran suspended all domestic international flights. The country's state-affiliated Fars news agency reported on Friday, citing aviation authority. Yeah, citing the danger of running into an Israeli fighter jet. Israel strikes kill Iran's top military leaders and target the nuclear program. 3 of Iran's top military commanders were killed. Trump urged Tehran to make a deal before there's nothing left of Iran. Good advice, the Trumpster. Here, first responders gather outside a building that was hit by an Israeli airstrike. Israel, in the early hours of Friday, launched its targeted strikes on Iran's nuclear program. The U.S. knew about the plans of the attack before it happened. Trump says, make a deal before it's too late. In his first comment since Israel launched a wave of strikes, Donald Trump urged the Islamic Republic to reach a nuclear deal before it is too late. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words, just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them that it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told. The United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, and with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They're all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there's still time to make this slaughter to make this slaughter with its next already planned attacks even more brutal come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there's nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. Wow. That was at 6 a.m. this morning. President Trump issued that warning to Iran, who isn't heeding it, and they will be bombed into the Stone Age. Bombed into the Stone Age. Trump warns Iran of even more brutal attacks without a deal. 200 jet fighters wrapped up the first wave of the attack, said Israel. Iranian Supreme Leader Khamenei said Israel should expect severe punishment for the strikes. Israel said it started shooting down drones launched in retaliation by Iran. Iranian Revolutionary Guard Commander Hossein Salami and his 2 other generals were killed, including putting a big hole in their military leadership. Benjamin Netanyahu said that they have planned 14 days of operations and will continue the strikes as long as necessary. Iran reels from Israeli strikes on nuclear sites, according to top officials. Israel said it damaged a key nuclear facility, and Iran said several military commanders were killed. President Trump warned Tehran to agree to new limits. Yeah. Iran is reeling today from waves of Israeli strikes that decapitated its military chain of command and targeted a key nuclear facility as Trump urged Tehran to strike a deal curbing its nuclear program. Man. A weakened Iran has very few options for striking back after Israel's devastating blows. In the face of Israel's far-reaching strikes today, it's not clear that Iran has the capacity to muster the furious response that might be expected. Israel has once again demonstrated it's the preeminent military and intelligence power in the Middle East, heedless of civilian casualties and diplomatic impact of its actions on allies. Oh, stop the lies, CNN. As with remarkable operation to decapitate their northern opponent, the Iranian proxy in Lebanon, Hezbollah, the overnight operation has the hallmarks of months or even years of preparation. Prime Minister Netanyahu may have been faced with using this capability now or losing it as diplomacy kicked in during the 6th round of nuclear talks scheduled for this weekend. Iran is now left counting its far-reaching wounds. Images from across Tehran show apartment blocks hit, it seems, in specific rooms, suggesting pinpoint targeting of individuals, likely through tracking cell phones. Yeah, those terrorists in the military were living in those places, and they were taken out. They were taken out. Iran vows powerful response to Israeli strikes. Of course, they promised that 12 hours ago, and they've yet to strike back because they're in complete disarray. Israel has decapitated their command structure. Decapitated. Trump warns Iran, make a deal before there's nothing left. Nothing left. Tehran retaliated with more than 100 drones, none of which, to my knowledge, got to Israel. Iran's Revolutionary Guard commander Hossein Salami killed in Israeli strike. Good riddance to this terrorist. Israel strikes Iran, killing 3 commanders. Trump urges Tehran to make a deal. This is the story today, folks, on a Friends and Family Only Friday. Mossad carried out covert sabotage operations against Iran's air defenses and long-range missiles. Dozens of targets related to the nuclear program, military facilities, and military commanders have been struck. Israel is bracing for expected response, which hasn't come yet. Mossad activated drones already hidden in Iran. Damn, the Mossad is impressive. Mossad had drones hidden in Iran. At least several months ago, Israel's top spy agency Mossad began to smuggle missiles into Iran and secretly installed swarms of explosive drones inside the country, laying the groundwork for a devastating Israeli surprise attack on Friday morning. As Israel launched its air attack, the Mossad activated its planted drones, which struck missile launchers at a base near Tehran, a senior official said, speaking in the condition of anonymity to discuss intelligence operations. Wow. Israel has finished its first large-scale strike. Dozens of radar and surface-to-air missile launchers were destroyed. 2 people with knowledge of the operation described the explosive drone plot as similar to the Ukrainian operation that destroyed Russian strategic bombers recently. Mossad commando units also deployed before Friday to install precision-guided weapons near Iranian air defense systems that were also activated Friday morning and completely took out Iran's defenses, according to a senior official. In fact, we saw no missiles in any of the footage I've seen launched against any Israeli aircraft, only wildly firing AAA cannon. And they were not accomplishing anything. At least 30 people are dead after boat capsizes in Lake Tumba in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Territorial Administrator Justin Putu told local media that the boat was carrying goods and people on Lake Tumbu. In remote areas where infrastructure is poor or non-existent, traveling by boat across lakes is a regular occurrence, but deadly boat accidents have become common, often due to poor vessel maintenance, overloading, and extreme weather, especially overloading. That's a major cause. Major fraud. Burundi's ruling party has won every single parliamentary seat. That's implausible. Burundi's veteran ruling party won every seat in last week's parliamentary elections. Nationally, the CNDD-FDD came first with 96.51% of the vote. They get all 100 seats in the parliament, the National Assembly. 96.51% of the vote. Yeah, that seems plausible. Sure. Yeah, nothing untoward happening there. Well, Uganda is expecting higher growth next year, but not because of oil. They're still sitting on all that oil in the Albertine Basin. Uganda on Thursday forecasts economic growth will accelerate slightly to 7%. Boy, South Africa could use 7% growth, but never going to see it. Uganda's oil fields near the border of the DRC are estimated to contain 6 billion barrels of reserves and being developed by companies including France's Total and China's national oil company, CNOOC. But that oil is yet to be delivered 20 years after it was supposed to be explored. China cynically enters the space. After Donald Trump imposes reciprocal tariffs on much of the world, China, 25 years later, says they're going to offer duty-free access and quota-free access to 53 African countries. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Wow. China and 53 African countries called on nations, especially the U.S., to return to the right track of restoring trade differences, official Xinhua news agents reported. Yes, so they're trying to step into that space and take advantage of Trump's position. U.S. military is adjusting its security strategy in Africa, but not really. This is a misnomer here, reported by Deutsche Welle, claiming that U.S. Africa Command is downsizing and turning responsibility over to African states. Well, that's not really true. But what I find interesting about this story is that in 2007, when the African Command was instituted as a sub-unified command of the European Command under President Bush's order from 2006, and I was there as a plank holder at the Pentagon and then at African Command. When that happened, the angst and the BS from blowhards and bloviators across Africa and black supremacists and racists in America and in Africa was astounding. Oh, U.S. is undermining African sovereignty. They're taking over African countries. They're putting bases in Africa. None of that transpired. We already had a base in Djibouti. We haven't built any bases since then for ourselves. And now, 18 years later, African Command's leaving. What are we going to do? Oh, what are we going to do? Oh. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Analysts are complaining. What will happen? What will happen if they leave? Yes. America has been a close partner in countering violent extremism, especially in Eastern and West Africa. We've relied heavily on U.S. logistics, training, and intelligence sharing to address these threats in terms of human security. The U.S. has also contributed through USAID and other programs that have helped lift many out of poverty. But if the U.S. withdraws its support, it would hit us hard. It can embolden terrorists to carry out more lethal and audacious attacks. Well, yeah, that's what I've been telling you for 20 years. But you chose to run around and rubbish my country when we were doing good for the people of Africa. So too bad. So sad. Your problem. Your problem. As I said, China is cynically offering duty-free and quota-free access for African countries. But they don't do that for BRICS countries. Don't hold your breath on this one, folks. Don't hold your breath on this one. China will negotiate and sign a new economic pact. It's just a promise. Nothing's happened yet. With Africa that will get rid of all tariffs on 53 African states as it has diplomatic ties with. The Asian economic giant offers duty and quota-free market access to least developed countries, including many in Africa, but the new initiative will level the playing field. China is ready to welcome quality products from Africa to the Chinese market. BS. This is a propaganda PR stunt because Trump's tariffs. China to drop all tariffs on African imports. Believe it when you see it, folks. Believe it when you see it. Don't get too excited about that. A top official in the State Department is resigning. U.S. State Department top official in Africa, Troy Fitzgerald, never heard of him, Fitzgerald, will retire in mid-July. The change in leadership of the State Department's Africa Bureau will come as President Donald Trump's administration is seeking to shift its strategy in the region to focus on trade rather than assistance. North Korea has claimed to have relaunched the ship that they capsized, their new ship. North Korea claims to have successfully repaired and relaunched into the water its damaged destroyer. Okay. Yeah, North Korea's Central News Agency said it launched the destroyer, the second it built this year, off the east coast of the country on Thursday. The fascist dictator of the country, Kim, saying the country's two destroyers will play a big role in improving North Korean Navy's operational capabilities. Yes, and when an Exocet missile sinks it and puts it to the bottom of the East China Sea, we'll hear about it then. The miracle, ladies and gentlemen, was reported yesterday that one person somehow survived that Air India crash, of the first ever fatal crash of a 787 Dreamliner. It was hard to believe, but apparently it's true. They said a UK citizen, and I said probably an Indian, a UK national. And that's exactly who it is, a UK national, not a Brit. Well, could be a Brit, but not an Englishman. The miracle of the sole passenger who survived the Air India flight, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, sat in seat 11A. He was the only survivor after the plane crashed. An expert called his escape extraordinary. Well, I would agree. Only one person on board Air India Flight 171 survived. British national Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, who could be seen limping past a crowd of shock rescuers toward the ambulance shortly after the crash, killed the other 241 people on board and dozens of people on the ground. Ramesh, who 40-year-old, has been described as a miracle in seat 11A in British media and visited in the hospital by several top Indian officials, including Prime Minister Modi. I don't know how I survived, he said in an interview from his hospital bed, with one arm heavily bandaged and a bloody cut under his eye. I was on the side of the plane that crashed on the ground floor of the hostel. He said, adding that both the emergency door and his seat were broken in the crash. When the door broke, I saw that there was some space for me to get out. That's how I escaped. The other side of the plane was stuck in the hostel wall, and no one could have been able to escape from that side, he added. So it didn't explode instantly. That's interesting. There's Prime Minister Modi meeting him. An aircraft crash landing in an uncontrolled way in a built-up area and full of fuel is one of the worst scenarios in terms of survivability. He'd been returning to his family in London after visiting India with his brother, who was also on the flight but sat in another row, so his brother's gone. In one of his first interviews after the crash with the Hindustan Times, he expressed his concern for his brother, hoping that he could find him. When I got up, there were bodies all around me. I was scared. I stood up and ran. There were pieces of plane all around me. One of his brothers told BBC News from home in Leicester that he was happy about one brother but sad about the other. While Ramesh had been sitting in an exit row, Braithwaite said it was still too early to tell whether his proximity to exit is a reason for survival. It's an urban myth that you sit on the plane can determine where you survive in a crash. Yeah, crazy. Ramesh is still in disbelief that he survived this crash. I think we're all in disbelief, but thankfully he did survive it. The United Kingdom, Germany, and Canada have all slashed foreign aid. While the United States gets called names for paring back foreign aid, everyone's doing it. Western countries have slashed foreign aid budgets this year, and reductions will steepen in 2026, with the U.S., UK, Germany, and Canada cutting the most. The aid cuts will mean significant losses for many developing nations, according to DC-based think tank. Ethiopia is projected to lose the most aid in nominal terms, with Jordan, Afghanistan, and the DRC also hit particularly hard. Well, teach a man to fish. Don't keep giving him fish. Pluto's hazy skies are caused by fog, folks. There's fog on Pluto. Yes, not just in the minds of ANC politicians. Pluto's hazy skies are making the dwarf planet even colder, according to James Webb Space Telescope. By absorbing ultraviolet sunlight, haze particles also gain enough energy to leak out into space. The James Webb Space Telescope has discovered that a hazy sky over frozen Pluto is helping to cool the dwarf planet's atmosphere, while at the same time giving methane, or methane, correctly pronounced, and other organic molecules a kick out of Pluto's atmosphere, where some are subsequently being gathered up by Pluto's closest companion, Charon. The discovery of the haze was predicted back in 2017 by planetary scientist Xi Zhang at the University of Southern. He predicted it to explain why Pluto's thin atmosphere is so leaky. Based on measurements from NASA's New Horizons aircraft, which hurtled past Pluto and Charon back in 2015, planetary scientist Will Grundy at the Lowell Observatory in Arizona calculated that Pluto's atmosphere is losing 1.3 kilograms of methane to space every second. And about 2.5% of this methane is being intercepted by Charon, staining its poles red with organic chemistry. Nowhere else in the solar system do we see atmosphere leaking into a neighboring body. It's pretty crazy. Why is Russia not part of the G7? This bloc is laughed at. The G7 is not laughed at. It's the most powerful economies in the world. Pablo Charlie, stop being a fool. An appeals court has restored Donald Trump's control of the California National Guard. Order comes hours after a rogue justice said that the president has no authority to activate the National Guard under Title X, which in fact he does. A federal appeals court has issued a temporary stay and a ruling handed down hours earlier, essentially restoring Donald Trump's controls of the California National Guard. The order by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, that's a shocker, comes hours after out-of-control 80-octogenarian, 80-plus-year-old Judge Charles Breyer ordered the administration to return control of the California National Guard to Governor Newsom. And that judgment had no basis in law, just in leftist drivel. National Guard troops will stay under Trump's control for now, according to the Ninth Circuit Court. Good. In a late-night ruling, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals paused a court order that would have required Trump to return control. The three-judge panel scheduled a hearing Tuesday, meaning the National Guard remained under federal control through the weekend. Appeals Court temporarily blocks federal judge's order directing Trump to return control of the National Guard to California. Ninth Circuit stay allows Trump's activation of the California National Guard to remain in effect through at least Tuesday, when the panel will hold a hearing on the matter. Trump administration tells illegal immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela that their status is terminated. You are going. The Department of Homeland Security Thursday told hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that their permission to live and work in the United States has been revoked and they should leave the country. Termination notice was addressed to nationals of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who came to the United States through the Biden-era illegal parole program. More than 500,000 of those people from 4 countries benefited from the illegal program, which violates U.S. immigration law, though it's unclear how many have since sought other forms of immigration relief while in the U.S. This notice informs you that your parole is now terminated. If you do not leave, you will be subject to enforcement actions, including but not limited to detention and removal, without an opportunity to make personal arrangements and return to your country in an orderly manner. This notice also states that work permits linked to the program will be revoked and directs parolees to return those permits to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Good. It's about time. FBI hunts down masked Los Angeles brute wanted for hurling cinder block rocks at federal officers during riots. Attorney General Bonnie warns you can't hide. The FBI has identified the masked brute caught on camera hurling bricks at federal law enforcement authorities in the Los Angeles anti-ICE riots. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced as she warned other instigators you can't hide. This guy has been identified and they're doing a search warrant of his house as we speak. Wow. His name is Reyes, and he's going to be on the most wanted list. Wow. A new bill would expand exception to the Medal of Honor 5-year limitation. Thanks to a new bill, the Medal of Honor may be awarded to service members for acts of valor that occurred decades ago. Valor never expires, says Representative Dale Issa, Republican of California, who introduced the Valor Has No Expiration Act in a recent press release. Neither should the opportunity of our bravest heroes to be recognized with our highest honor. There's no reason why those who went above and beyond are ineligible for the Medal of Honor due to arbitrary time standard when their true account may not be known or was kept secret or classified for decades. The act seeks to extend and expand on the 1996 National Defense Authorization Act, which, according to ICE's press release, waived the 5-year limitation for the Medal of Honor consideration, but only for actions occurring between 1940 and 1990, and only for classified intelligence activities. ICE notes that he was inspired to propose a bill due to his friend and constituent naval aviator Captain Royce Williams and his 1952 actions during the Korean War. Flying an F-9 F-5 Panther fighter, Williams found himself outmanned and piloting what was considered an inferior aircraft when he was swarmed by 7 MiG-15 aircraft. Despite initially flying with 2 other VF-781 pilots, Williams soon found himself alone. In the moment I was a fighter pilot doing my job, I was only shooting what I had. They had me get cold on maneuverability and acceleration. The only thing I could do was outturn them. For 35 minutes, Williams engaged the enemy, shooting down 4 of the planes in what was considered the longest dogfight in U.S. military history. According to the U.S. Naval Institute, no other American fighter pilot has ever shot down 4 MiGs in one fight. Williams' actions, however, was kept classified for more than 50 years, making the pilot ineligible for the Medal of Honor. Captain Royce Williams, now 100 years young, is an American hero, the highest order. Every American should know his story and what he did on that day nearly 73 years ago. It should go unrecognized no longer. With his reform legislation, America's heroes, whether undiscovered or unknown or unrevealed, can be honored as they should. Acts of valor have no expiration date. Thank you, Representative Issa. You are correct. Valor has no expiration date. Over 1,200 flights in the U.S. canceled, affecting American, Air Canada, United, Delta, as severe weather disrupts Houston, Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa during a summer travel frenzy. 461 flight delays, 67 cancellations at Houston. Wow. Just for a couple of airlines. Troops and Marines, according to The Guardian, are complaining about their deployment. Morale is not great. Several service members told advocacy groups they felt like pawns in a political game and assignment was unnecessary. Well, here's my message to members of the National Guard. If you have problems with fulfilling your oath to the nation to support and defend the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, then resign if you're an officer and then leave at the end of your enlistment. You have no business supporting and defending this country if your only desire is to get a paycheck or education benefits or veterans benefits or to go abroad. All enemies, foreign and domestic. Your job is to respond to an insurrection. Shut your cake hole and do your job. Shut your cake hole and do your job. Whiny little biatches. Unbelievable. But that's what soldiers do. Soldiers complain, they moan. Welcome to the 975 people currently here. We were over 1,000. Where did the rest of you go to? All right, folks, that's the news for today. Pierre, lighten up. Pierre who? Where's Pierre Orban? I haven't seen Pierre Orban at all. Peter McCabe, welcome to you. Corey is here. Alan, welcome to you. Yeah, do your job, exactly. Okay, Benoni, what's going on, Benoni, Chris? How do I apply for the refugee program? Chris starts to speak in, what is Sibbles? What is that? What is that word? Is that a real question or are you just a troll? You're honestly asking how you apply for the refugee program. After I've done 70 videos on it, I've spoken about it for thousands of hours. You're actually coming here and asking that question. Is it a real question, Yaku? I'll entertain this a real question, but you need to respond again. So we make sure you're not simply a troll. Vossi, thank you for your membership. Appreciate it. Yeah, I thought he's a troll. Okay, thank you, Yaku. Well, I just happened to look in the chat. Thank you. It's not a funny joke, guys. Is Ronaldo here? Saw a horde of motorcycles riding Los Angeles. The comment said it was war veterans. Don't know how true it is. A lot of military personnel are parts of rider groups, and they do ride around, so I never know. What has Ronaldo said or done? I don't see Ronaldo here. You guys keep referencing Ronaldo. I see no comment from him. Nope, no comment from him. Just like Mossad attacked from within Iran, CCP has hundreds of farms in the U.S. near U.S. Army bases. They may have installations. No, they don't. They don't have hundreds of farms. No, they don't. They've been buying some, but they don't have hundreds of farms. Israeli army called the strongest army in the world, not shy. No, Israeli army is not the strongest in the world. Around now, no pagers, no wristwatch, no iPhones, no Apple Watches. Exactly. Just carrier pigeons. Smart move. Saw Rama on news today, visited flooded area. Man poured his heart out about the floods while Rama fiddled with his phone and made a joke afterwards. Yeah, I have no compassion for people. It's just, they're going to wind up getting tarred and feathered by people. All right, some of you think you're being funny asking silly questions. You think it's cute. Your message is going to be deleted. Moderators, any stupid questions about the refugee program, delete them. And I don't care if you've been an OG. It's just not funny. I'm tired of this nonsense. It's not funny. Yeah, Iran will be returned to Stone Age. Yep, exactly, Vernon. Just thinking how organized IDF was that there was drones in Iran and certain targets were hit. Yeah, Corey, and they hit apartment buildings. Spot on where the guys are at. Goats can't be happy because they're losing husbands and lovers. Oh, God bless. That's terrible. That's terrible. But funny. Okay. Maddie says, gotta love Mossad. Johan Barnard, welcome to you. Maybe the Teletubbies can apply. There you go. No, South Africa won't do well with 3%, Steve Herselman. South Africa needs a minimum of 6.5% annual GDP growth over a sustained period of 10 to 15 years just to begin digging itself out of the hole that the ANC has created for the past 30 years. That's at a minimum. I don't see anything from Ronaldo. Where are you guys seeing comments from Ronaldo? I see nothing from Ronaldo. Who's here? No comments. Iran's crown prince will run the revolution in Iran. Yeah, Jerry, Israel is brilliant, starting with the Grim Beeper operation. That's a good title for that. Yep. Family members meant to fly back to Iraq today. All flights ground immediately. Yeah. Yep. Hey, Arctic, what's going on? And Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason, is here as well. Rakes, Neil. Okay. Only survivor. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's got to be, you know, if you believe in divine intervention, you probably want to believe that in that case. Imagine that, walking away from a crash like that. And he walked away. The guy isn't like, he's not missing a leg. He's not, you know, he's not in a coma. He walked away from the crash, which tells me that when it hit, it didn't explode immediately. Because had it exploded the moment it hit, he would have been thrown from the plane. He wouldn't have been able to rush out of a hole. The plane, his side jarred and the door came open and he was able to slip through it and walk away. So we watched that video of the explosion. We can't see when it hit, but it must not have exploded immediately. But obviously all that fuel, something happened. And yeah, it's truly amazing, Auntie Floyd, that anyone survived that. So blessed, yeah. Well, I hope he doesn't have survivor's guilt, but it probably will because his brother died in that flight. Arctic gave his take on the crash. The whole issue with the flaps and the wheels is something that's going to be looked at very carefully. Most British are Indian or Pakistani, not many light-skinned Brits left. Actually, untrue, Vernon. Untrue. Majority of the population. That immigrant population is still only about 15% of the population. Called for gear, but went for flap, lever, and power on stall. Yep. Do we know that, Arctic, from the black box, or is that your analysis? I suspect your analysis is spot on. Marius certainly didn't help. Marius who? But how can a human mistake? I mean, that's an insane human mistake for something like that. Especially on the Dreamliner. Dreamliner has so many safety measures implemented with it. So many. And what's the first thing CNN does? Boeing has been accused of skirting the safety guidelines on the Dreamliner for years. A whistleblower claim. There's no, that hasn't been proven. Look, I'm not saying Boeing is innocent here, but that hasn't been proven. So they immediately seek to disparage Boeing and the 787. The 787 is an amazing aircraft. It's the first fatal crash. And it's likely human error. Well, possibly. So we'll see. I think it was proper looking for a clean. Okay. Grace will only be evident if he bows to God, says Chris Ehlers. Amanda Cooper. Oh boy, here comes the marches. Backlash from political parties bashing Israel. Yeah, I haven't seen anything from the ANC yet. Have you guys? Nothing. No statements. Ramaphosa is dealing with the floods. Let me go to the ANC on Twitter and see what we got here. If we got anything from the ANC. African National Congress. My ANC. Let's see if they've said anything about it. About Tehran. No. Chris Hani. Branches. No. Albinism. Wow, they're talking about albinism. Moroccan propaganda machine. The ANC has attacked Morocco. The rest of the world is falling in line with Morocco's plan for Western Sahara, but not the ANC. They continue to double down. What is Fikele saying here? God, I thought I couldn't sing. Eastern Cape floods, inclusive growth, Chris Hani. Yeah, funeral service. There's nothing here. I think it's time to make a video about that. Strangely, the ANC's kept its cake hole shut about Iran. Time for Africa to stand on its own, but they turn the only people that will listen and don't see they're walking into the devil's door. Hey, Steve. I read a dad, mom, and 3 children were under the passengers that died. That sounds odd, Krista, given that it landed on a dining facility at a medical school. What would a father, mother, and 3 children be doing there? I'm not denying, but what would happen? Why is Russia not part of the G7? Pablo, Charlie, that's a silly question. It's the pilot's job, mod. A pilot flying calls for the gear that could either... Yeah, that's what I thought. The pilot calls for that. Flaps. Why won't I tell Elon Musk that there's fog on Pluto? I'm curious. Okay. There's Ronaldo. Just want to know if I can take my dogs. All right. You're out of here, Ronaldo. Take your dogs. You got to pay for it. That's where Ronaldo's at. Okay. So, a horde of motorcycles. I already got there. So, now we're catching back up here. Okay. So, the interview that you gave last night shook me up a bit because you normally aren't doom and gloom, but it's a dangerous situation we're in. Should be taken seriously. What interview, Lindy? What are you talking about? What interview? The interview that I did? I did an interview with Herman. about refugees. What interview did I do last night? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Am I forgetting some content I made? It's possible. No, there's nothing here, man. Well, I'm confused. Please, Lindy, explain what you're talking about. I'm trying to track with that. My live stream from last night has suddenly got limited advert possibility because I talked about the war. What a comical behavior by YouTube. Kali Moritz, welcome to you. Helen Svarts, the media and leftist cockpriders should be sued. Yeah, they should be. And for doxing the refugees, they should be. That's a violation of the Poppy Act. Colonel, my husband says it could just be a bad Windows update. I've lost track where I was at on that. Sorry. Okay. The wings were ripped off when it entered the building, so he was inside the building and the explosion was outside. How can the explosion be outside when the plane is inside the building and that's where the fuel is at? I don't understand that, Craig. 5 students on the ground were killed. That's what I understood. 5 students in a dining facility on the ground were killed. So, good evening, sir. Is World War III possible? Anything's possible there, none, but I wouldn't hold my breath that there's going to be World War III. We certainly have the world on fire. That's for darn sure. Did you tour all the major areas of the Middle East? I have been to Tunisia, Morocco, it's North Africa, Israel, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Turkey. Yeah, those are the countries I've been to. Oh, the Johan Allers interview. Okay, let me go back, which Lindy was saying something about the interview. Oh, doom and gloom on that one. No, he was winding me up. And so, look, it's fine. I'm not saying Johan did it wrong, but he was winding me up and I played along with it. Basic point is this, is that the ANC is acting as if there are no consequences and saying stupid things. And, you've got people in South Africa that are talking about, threatening the U.S. Well, what are you going to threaten us with? Empty words? You've got no military. If the U.S. wanted, it could do anything to South Africa. Yep. Gotcha, Lindy. That's the interview you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't. That's not on my channel. That's on his channel. Yeah. Is it maybe you're meeting with? Yeah, I think that's that we're talking about there. So, EFF is probably guys. I do so many interviews. And I talk to so many people that unless it's on my channel and it was fresh in my mind, I forget. So apologies. Yeah, Lindy, you're talking about the one I did on his channel. Okay. J.D. Vance calls himself a Christian, and I've seen no effort in him calling out ethnic cleansing upon Christians worldwide. Well, Pablo Charlie, when have you called out ethnic cleansing against Christians worldwide? Have you done that? Janine Scenes, Jonathan Gilyard, former son of Fox, that Iran could activate sleeper cells, and the pattern is usually a distraction. Yes, they could. There are plenty of Iranian terrorists in America, and this is one reason why we suspended countries from the visa program. Yeah, Vilma's a little bit behind. We'll catch up. Yeah, Lindy's thanking everybody for the name, Johan Allers. Yeah, so don't be doom and gloom. Don't be doom and gloom. But South African politicians keep acting stupid. Ramaphosa is still telling more jokes about dim the lights. He thinks it's funny. Nothing here in Libya as far as tensions are concerned. Our airspace is still open and business as usual. You and colleagues in Iraq are stuck. Yeah, no, they're stuck there, Green Leader. There's Green Leader. Cool beans. Oh, I'm going to play that, man, the Green Leader tape. I'm going to play that. Hey, Delani's back. Excuse me. I love that recording. It's good stuff.
There's nothing from Tower. I'm not going to call them, okay? Okay. It's going to be perfect. Oh. Little dam coming up, drifting port. Goes right. 283. 284. Go right some more, just I want to get a spot 284 or 285. I want to do a kink, sir, to get a spot on. Let's go right. Tell me when to roll out. Okay, go left 282 now. 285. 282. 282. Power line's down here. Roger, you're coming up to 2 minutes. Mark.
This was the Rhodesian Air Force flying in Zambian airspace and warning them not to interfere with their operations. They were not targeting Zambians, but the ANC terrorists.
Tires up. I've got a map reading. 282. Yeah, I've got 3 minutes to run. Trains accelerating. Pictures. Turn switching doors open. Yes, switching doors. Steady. Right to touch. I've got them in the field. Steady. I'm going to get them. Yes. Steady. Fucking beautiful. Steady. Steady. Now. Bomb's gone. They're running. Beautiful. Gee. From the Rhodesian Air Force.
There it is.
Beautiful.
This is the part we want to hear, not all that nonsense. We want to hear this part.
Fucking beautiful. Roger. I'm just going to continue on this thing. Oh, they're running straight into the other frags? Yeah, I know. Beautiful. Roger, let me just get onto fucking town and give them a bloody message.
Sorry about the profanity, guys. These are the pilots. They just dropped bombs. Let's. This is a long time ago.
Where's this fucking piece of speech? I think it'll be better when we've climbed up, sir. Yes, I will. I'm just trying to get the thing ready. Put it up. The Sarkatar, this is Green Leader.
There you go. This is Green Leader. That's what we're looking for. Jeez, that was 3 minutes and 26 seconds, a waste of time. Yeah, here you go.
Tar, this is Green Leader. This is a message for the station commander at Mumbai from the Rhodesian Air Force. We are attacking the terrorist base at Westlands Farm at this time. This attack is against Rhodesian dissidents and not against Zambia. Rhodesia has no quarrel, repeat, no quarrel with Zambia or her security forces. We therefore ask you not to intervene or oppose our attack. However, we are orbiting your airfield at this time and are under orders to shoot down any Zambian Air Force aircraft which does not comply with this request and attempts to take off. Did you copy all that? Copied.
Copy.
Roger, thanks. Cheers.
Roger that. Cheers. Tower, this is Green Leader Chris Dixon. However, we are flying over your airfield right now with orders to shoot should anyone seek to engage us. Wow. Wow. Yes, Alan, in battle, we did swear quite a bit, a lot of us. Yeah, what a legend. Yep. Yeah, Zambia, Northern Rhodesia. Yeah, Tower was very polite. Yeah, he's like, copy. Wow. Green Leader. Yep. Wow, folks. That was something else. That was something else. Oh my goodness. Wow. Such a long time ago. Wow. That was something else. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very quick copy. Do you copy all that was said? Copy? Let's hear that again. 325. Was it here? I think it was here.
Dissidents.
Yeah, there you go. 325. Here we go.
Put it up. The Sarkatar, this is Green Leader. Tar, this is Green Leader. This is a message for the station commander at Mumbai from the Rhodesian Air Force. We are attacking the terrorist base at Westlands Farm at this time. This attack is against Rhodesian dissidents and not against Zambia. Rhodesia has no quarrel, repeat, no quarrel with Zambia or her security forces. We therefore ask you not to intervene or oppose our attack. However, we are orbiting your airfield at this time and are under orders to shoot down any Zambian Air Force aircraft which does not comply with this request and attempts to take off. Did you copy all that? Copied.
Copy.
Roger, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. Chris Dixon, cheers. Oh, I love the Green Leader recording, man. Oh, that's so awesome. Boom. Yeah. Very quick with the copy, yeah. Can you imagine that, folks? Can you imagine that? Wow. Wow, that's before they had the SA-7s to shoot down the commercial Rhodesian Airlines aircraft. Yes, Shanez Abrahams, they are very quiet. I'm going to go make a video on that here shortly about how quiet South Africa's government has been. Maybe now they've gotten the message. Maybe now they've gotten the message. We'll see. Yeah, Zambia did have an air force, and they have one now, but it was Northern Rhodesia 1.2. When was the Green Leader? It's 1968. When was that? When was... It was 78. Why did I think it was 68? I misspoke. Yes, 78. The Green Leader attack, also known as Operation Gatling, took place on October 19th, 1978. Joint Rhodesian Air Force and Army operation at a training base in Zambia for ZIPRA. The attack was retaliation for the downing of the Air Rhodesia Flight 825 by ZIPRA guerrillas. Yep. There you go, Green Leader. Here you go. So, Squadron Leader John Taylor Dixon, also known by his call sign Green Leader, was a Rhodesian military pilot. Yep. For the Rhodesian Air Force, was born in southern Rhodesia, best known for leading the Rhodesian Operation Gatling bombing over Zambia, which became known as the Green Leader Raid. Yep. In 1978, following the downing of Air Rhodesia Flight 825 by ZIPRA guerrillas, Rhodesian government planned retaliatory strikes against ZIPRA bases across the Rhodesian border in Zambia. The attack, later codenamed Operation Gatling, was led by Dixon. Upon crossing the border in his English Electric Canberra bomber, he contacted the tower in Lusaka, identifying himself as Green Leader, informing them to contact the Zambian Air Force commander at Mumbwa. Dixon told the tower to communicate to the commander that he was temporarily taking control of Zambian airspace on behalf of the Rhodesian Air Force. He clarified the message that the reason was to attack Rhodesian distance and not against Zambia, and stated Rhodesia had no quarrel with Zambia. He did, however, warn the Zambian authorities not to interfere and stated that Rhodesians were orbiting Zambian airfields and had orders to shoot down any Zambian Air Force planes that attempted to take off. He also had civilian aircraft approaching Zambia put on hold. He kept control until 10 minutes after the attack had completed the raid. After Kenyan Airways pilot complained about who had control of the airspace, to which Lusaka had responded, I think the Rhodesians do. That was more, I didn't play the rest. Dixon said the airport could let civilian aircraft land. I was like, Kenyan Airways, like, who has control? And the tower's like, I think the Rhodesians do. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. The exchange was broadcast on television and radio by the Rhodesian Broadcasting Corporation. Dixon's role in the raid was commemorating the song Green Leader by John Edmund, as he was considered a hero. He later led the bombing raid against ZIPRA in Operation Vanity over Angola, flying a Canberra, but almost had to abort participation due to the radio fault. For his military success, he was awarded the Defense Cross for Distinguished Service on April 13th, 1979. Following the end of his Rhodesian military service, he remained in newly reconstituted Zimbabwe until his death in 2011. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Green Leader, folks. Wow. A lot of people don't know that history. A lot of people don't know that history. Crazy world out there, ain't it? No problem, Green Leader. Don't mind me. I'm changing my underwear. Squirrel and Panda are still busy looking for where they put their piggy bank. Yep. Yep. Pat's Pat got it right. Very informative, says Miranda. Yeah, 2 years later, it was all over. Yeah. Yeah, Green Leader, it was. Well, Forster betrayed the Rhodesians. John Forster betrayed the Rhodesians. Yep. Shanez is nuts, not insane. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Rhodesians, SAS hit Nkoma's home. Yeah, in Lusaka, Nkoma claimed he escaped through a small toilet. Imagine the bulk. Yeah, that big guy going through a toilet window. In the end, it was all for nothing, says Viper. Yep. Esther L's, what email address are you looking for? What is Arctic saying that he didn't say the other night? Wesley's laughing. All right, so yeah. So, you know, it was, this was David Scobie at the end of that time. Yes, if Forster had supported the Rhodesians, you all wouldn't be in the mess you're in today. Yep. Yep.
Close your eyes, think a while before we
Yeah, and all those hotties wearing those fatigues are all in their 60s now. It's like 1981. That's when that song was. They're all in their 60s now. Yeah, those white boots, man. You gotta love it, Charles. You gotta love it. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Then, of course, we've got this one that was recorded. Yeah. This one, of course.
Now we got to go help people customize.
Not that ad. Not that ad. That's Doug. Limu Imu and Doug. It was. What a time it was indeed. It's a different world, folks. The world has changed so much in the past 50 years. Yep. Anyway, well, there you go, folks. Debbie Fox gave a super chat, which I missed 350 rand. Says, have a great weekend. Thank you for that, Debbie. Do appreciate that super chat. I didn't see that. My apologies for missing that. Wyoming refugees. Nope. Not going to happen. Deployed to 101, sometimes 3-2 as per. Okay. Chris says, hi, Chris. Are you still looking for that video where Ron Posa spoke of the... no, I've got it. I've got it. And I was making a video and I haven't had a chance to finish it. Yeah, I've got that video in which talks about colonizers. Yep. Anyway, yeah. So nostalgic. Yes, Lorraine. Yep. A roadie could drink anyone under the table. Really? The Irish can drink people under the table too. They sure can. Yes. We still wish we still had our old army. Yep. We're all old around here, says Phoenix. Not everybody. Not everybody's old. Please, links to the video. Oh, well, sure. What a time it was. There you go. And all the world's against us. I wouldn't say we were right. I wouldn't say we were wrong. What a time it was. We've broken all our bonds. Yep. I can't play just any song people want to play. I'm playing songs I know I won't get a copyright strike on. Can't afford to get a strike. So, anyway. Still have a slightly British accent. Oh, really, Maddie? Okay. The Ramaphosa video. I have that video. Thank you, guys. I found it. I was able to download it directly. Yep. So, the world as we knew it is gone. Yeah, well, the world as I knew it is gone. But we saved America on November 5th, and we're trying to save the world. Gone to 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Yep. Yep. Valerie says she attended primary school in Zimbabwe back in the 1980s. It sure was a stunning country back then. Never been back. Yeah, no, it's gone to the birds. Freelance Kate. Boy, you're always coming in late. What are you doing that you pop in here so late? Who is a Rhodesian comedian that did a skit on a bucket going up bricks? I don't know who that is offhand. My favorite oldie songs were those Vietnam War songs. Really, Conrad? Okay, today some of us fought in Angola, struggled with PTSD just to be sold out. Yep, you have been sold out. You have been sold out. Absolutely. Can I take my baby Ash with me on a flight? What is an ash? No idea what an ash is. What is an ash? Skippy's still a proud Rhodesian. Look at all the roadies in the chat, folks. Okay, let's see how many roadies are here. Okay, start a poll. How many are... There you go. How many roadies in the poll? All right, let's see. I bet you we got at least 6 or 7 here. Clip at the end of the video by Morning Shot that was uploaded 3 hours ago. It's about Iran's cheering death to America. Nope, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Morning Shot. Dad joined the Army in 70, conscription, but he served his time. He would have been 73 on Monday. I'm sorry, that's too young to have passed. Green Berets, I get a copyright strike for that, Teresa. I did a cover song singing the Ballad of the Green Beret with Steve Hofmeyer, and I got a copyright strike for singing that song. It was a cover song. What a crock, by YouTube. Yep, that was when I was at Velbedoct, and Steve called me up on stage, and I sang it with him. Yep, so. Yeah, I can't play that, guys. You just don't understand. YouTube has very stupid rules. By the way, for those who are curious, YouTube did send me a message yesterday to redeem my code for my silver 100,000 subscriber plaque. I did that. And then I also applied for the verified check mark. That takes a few weeks. The reason I did the verified check mark is several people could bring it to attention, but people are stealing my content. I mean, they're just brazen. There are people on TikTok just stealing my video and loading it on their TikTok account, and they have 50,000 followers. And people are stupid. They're watching the video, and they're asking the moron who stole my content questions. Well, hey, dipshit, look at the photograph. That's not me. People are unbelievable. Okay. Well, Ash. Well, Ash is not capitalized then. Ash is lowercase. Ash sounded like short for someone's name. Thank you. Chinese investors own roughly 300,000 farm leaders. I'm not going to dispute that figure. Well, I don't know, Monica, but it was capitalized, so it's not a proper noun. Or babies, ashes, as in cremains. Yeah, I got you. Okay, well, that's different. So all the countries after the war. Will keep my judgment to myself. Oh, Lynette, you reported the channel. Yeah, okay. Well, I sent the guy a note and said, if you're going to steal my content, at least you can do is credit me, No, there's nothing sacrosanct in social media. Look, it's one thing to use content to comment and analyze it. It's another just to steal people's content and put it on your site. He just stole my video and put it on his site. Didn't even put, look, Biz News asked me about using my content, and I let them use it. Then the second time they didn't ask me, but they put credit there. Third time they did it, but that's okay. They're analyzing my content, but people just stealing your content, putting it up as their own, and then people are dumb enough to ask that person questions about their FG program. They stole the content. They didn't even contact me. Well, Shawnee, you got to wait for the check mark, so hopefully it happens. Whoa, that's loud. I had it cranked up right there. So my grandparents and my father are Rhodesian, says LG. Peter said, what's going on, man? You guys saw that stuff. You guys must spend a lot of time on social media. I don't. I'm just busy putting content together all the time. And when I'm done here, I'm going to go make some more content about the ANC's been very quiet. Very, very quiet. I do have a TikTok account, Lynette. I do have a TikTok account. Absolutely. But I don't put any content on anymore because TikTok lies to me. TikTok told me for 2 years I had 12,700 followers, and it never changed. But every week they would send me a thing saying, here's 100 new, 200 new followers, and then they keep saying they put their thumb on my channel. I had 1 million views on some of my videos over there, but it's just I've actually got a payout from them once.
Beat him to the stage, but he's...
So now it says at 13,200. Make your list. Quick check. 13,200. So 500 more than I had before. Yeah. But when they quit loading my videos, like I made this video months ago in the wintertime and it won't load. 2 of these. I did one on October 5th, 2024, and another in January 24th, and it won't load. So let me see if it'll load up. This is loading up a video I did. Well, hey folks, I've been kind of quiet here on TikTok for a long time, mostly because TikTok censorship and the fact that they keep telling me I have new followers and subscribers, but the numbers never change. It's stuck at 12,700 for well over a year now. Something fishy going on there. But anyway, I've put a lot of content out on YouTube regarding... Anyway, so yeah, I have that account, if you're curious, is at Africa Matters. At Africa Matters. At Africa Matters. MATTERS. Yeah. Yeah, 13,000 followers, but I just quit putting stuff on there because they just didn't reward me. I mean, I have 1,000 views, 800 views. Then I go back here and I have 50,000 views, 250,000 views. So anyway, but I've got hundreds of videos on TikTok. It is a terrible platform. Yeah, it's a censorship platform. Gabriel, who suspended what? Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. So 13% of the people here are roadies. That means that 26, over 30 of you are roadies. That's cool. I think it'll be the response from UAE. I don't think UAE is going to have any response. What are they going to do? At least the Rhodesian, Mozambiques, and Angolans head to South Africa as a place for refuge. Exactly. South Africans have nowhere to go. I saw in the SA refugees chat info on WhatsApp that President Trump lift the 9-day hold on funding of NGOs assisting refugees. That is true, Gabriel. It is true. And Afghans are on their way over here. Some of the Afghans were already vetted previously. Yep. Virtual Western Cape City. Earlier video standing that forest road hit all the right fields. Yeah, I love that spot. That road, by the way, is crap. The pavement is, or the blacktop is falling apart. It's like a South African road. There's a super chat. Thank you for that, Clarence Keen. Good evening from you and your son. Well, thank you for the 70 Rand super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, that road is falling apart, but no matter. I drive on it slowly. Okay, yeah, so that is true. To answer your question there, Gabriel Kraus, he has lifted the suspension and the money's being restored. Yep. Okay. Zimbabwe's white population is 50,000. No, it's down to less than 20,000 if I'm not mistaken. Skull Klopscher. I want to promote you on my TikTok, but I'm a bit afraid I will be targeted. Then don't do it then, Rolene. Then don't do it. Don't put yourself in jeopardy. Hey, Colonel, what do you think the ANC is quiet? Well, I'm going to go make a video on that, Pete, so stay tuned. I'm going to make a video on that. No, the suspension is not still in place, Arctic. It's been lifted. They just haven't announced it. The thing is, the ANC know exactly what they're busy with and who they support. Yep, exactly. Unsupervised quadriplegic. Do you have a Rumble account? I do have a Rumble account, but nobody watches it. Nobody watches. And for some reason, I've been able to live stream there recently. I don't know why. Rumble. Okay, go to Rumble. Get you the link. My channels. My biggest one is Chris Wyatt Africa, which has 776 followers. And I quit putting stuff over there because people aren't over there. So here's the Rumble account. I also have an Odyssey account. I have a Subscribe Star. I have a Patreon account. I have all of this stupid stuff, but nobody ever watches leftist. Big hit with a great song called Gypsy Girl. Yes, I know Gypsy Girl. That follows right after this. 4 migrants escaped Newark. Well, they're not migrants. They're illegal aliens. What is this? TikTok is rubbish. Well, it's hard to argue with that. Maybe best to focus on X. X, I don't have many followers there either. I had 300 a year ago, but in the past, well, I had 300 late last year, but now I have 11,500. So, yeah. Yep, so. Anyway, yep. So that's also not a platform. I mean, I put stuff on there, but it's a toxic platform, so. Can I send an email to your Yahoo email? Sure you can, Esther. That's fine. Thank you. You feel your brain cells dying with each video, says Danian. Yeah, I know, Gypsy Girl. Yep. Happy you're running some ads to generate some bit of revenue. Not. You mean on the videos? I'm also running ads for people. I've always done that. I did that during the lockdown. I tried to do free advertising people. Here's an ad from somebody who's a friend for one of his apps.
Trading got you feeling like this? Losing your fur and your crypto? Yeah, manual charting is a beast. Makes you want to smash stuff. But wait, what's this shiny new toy? Could it be? One tap, screenshot, I trade. Go. Magic box does the work. Boom. Support, resistance, patterns. Even a Yeti gets it. Suddenly, green candles everywhere winning, like a boss Yeti. Gronk's making bank. Snowballs stacking sats. The whole cave is rich.
Yes!
Stop raging. Start trading smarter. Download iTrade AI Trading Assistant. Yeti approved, not financial advice.
So that's an advert. Yeah, and I run that for free. You guys like that? Went down to 33,800. What's that, Skulk? Yeah, no, it's not one of my funnies. It's an advert. Someone asked me how much I would charge to run the advert, and I said I'll do it for free. Varushka. Yeah, the ads. So let me tell you my philosophy on the ads. Thank you for the 35 Rand, Varushka. for the super chat. I've got the alerts turned off. Let me turn it back on. Come on, where are they at? Alert box. There we go. Oh no, it was on. Okay. Everyone who is anyone is running ads. Why don't you? You mean why don't I take sponsorship? I've never pursued it. I've been given lots of offers over the past few years, and since I got approached 100,000, I've been approached by many people. A couple of the programs I said I'll consider it. Tell me what the ads are. So, yep. Anyway, so this was my approach on ads on the videos because people moan about it all the time, which I appreciate. I don't want to be inundated. So I used to have rules on average. So when I monetized a channel, which wasn't my plan, thank you, Myra Prinsloo, for the 100 Rand coffee time. When I first monetized my channel, my rule was that I would not monetize any video under 5 minutes because I think if you're watching 5 minutes or less, a 3-minute, 4-minute video, and you have to be inundated by minutes of video ads, that's insane. So that was the first rule. Second rule is I wouldn't monetize anything that was about someone's misery, like farm death or someone being murdered or something like that. I wouldn't put any adverts on that. So that was my rule, or my rules. And I followed those for a long time. And then my channel was stagnating, and I was in South Africa over a year ago. And Byron Shepard said to me, he said, Chris, you know, they're not going to promote your videos if you don't turn on the ads. I said, yeah, I suppose you have a point because they make money, and so they'll promote stuff and make money off. And he said, yeah, that's why. Thank you, Stephen, for your membership. May Sandy prevail. Yes, may Sandy prevail. So I changed my rule, and I still don't do it where people are suffering, and which hasn't hurt me. I did a video about a farm murder, and it got over 100,000 views without advertising. So, you know, I do put advertising in almost all my videos now, and it's definitely, you know, it's true that if you don't allow ads on your video, you're not going to promote it. But here's the other thing: they won't promote it, but the other thing is they'll still put ads on the video. So YouTube reserves the right now to put ads on every video, whether you're monetized or not. And every ad they run that you didn't authorize, they get 100% of the revenue. You get zero. So why should they profit? And I get nothing. So, yep. Kathleen says, big ups to you. For what, Kathleen? For what? Standard for embassies. My ex worked at Victoria Embassy. As you can go into the building. If you get past security, have little office by reception. Very few get inside. What's Karen Lang's question here that led to that response? Okay, saw a black Namibian on TikTok talking about the U.S. Embassy consulate in Namibia being like a fortress. All of our embassies are like that, Karen. I've worked in the embassies in the NATO embassy in Brussels, the U.S. Embassy in Brussels, the European Union Embassy in Brussels, Berlin, Rome, Tunis, Monrovia, Gaborone, Pretoria, Swaziland, Lesotho, Mozambique, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Uganda. That's just some of them. I worked in all those embassies and many more. Every one of those embassies is a fortress with good reason. So the black Namibian saying that it's like a fortress, just an idiot. If they're trying to make a point that it's because of a threat in Namibia, it's not. It's just how our newer embassies were built. Our older ones weren't like that. We didn't start building new accommodations till the late 1990s. And one of the first ones built with the new accommodations, new embassy standards, was the one in Hatfield. That was built around 1999, if I remember correctly. And now, since 9/11, it's changed even more. It just takes a lot of money to build these embassies, so it takes years. They have barriers, and they have multiple levels and, you know, blast doors and everything under the sun. So you just don't get in. Even Americans don't get in. So, yep. Thank you, Myra, for the 100 Rand Super Chat. Steve, thank you for your membership. When were you at the Pretoria Embassy? Patches, I didn't work there permanently. I've worked there multiple times on temporary duty. I worked there on assignment for a few weeks, about 3 weeks once a few years ago. And I've been there multiple times for business. Yep. So I knew every single U.S. Army attaché for the better part of almost 20 years in Pretoria. I'm only 32. Who said I was 32? Monetize your channel, legend. You have phenomenal content credentials. Well, thank you, Phoenix. No, it is monetized. And Ludic, thank you for the 70 rand. Apologies for my controversial comments. Love you all. Your comments aren't controversial. Did I miss something? Blue Bulls for the win. Yes. Folks, Rugby Ascendant. Please join me over there. I haven't set up the stream yet. I've got the banner for it. I will set it up. That's on Rugby Ascendant. I'll be doing play-by-play and color commentary of URC Championship tomorrow. It will be my 4th URC Championship that I've called. Every one of them. Yep. Stormers won the first one. Munster won the second one. Glasgow, I didn't broadcast Glasgow because I was at the championship last year. Yep, I was there last year, folks. Last year, I was at Loftus Fairfield for the championship. URC Grand Finale. Yep, that's where I was last year, this time, in South Africa. Yep. Can't share my link since I'm not Blue Wrench, but you can type my name and search me. Oh, yeah, Shawnee Grows. Yeah, you can find Shawnee. She does some prepping stuff. Monetize your channel. Okay. Lindy says, apologies for controversy. Oh, no. No, that's not Lindy. That's the other. No problem. I already got that. You don't look a day over 33, Colonel. Wait till the beard comes off. Me, I'm saying so. Just joke. Thank you, Myra. I got you. Colonel, I don't think the group will mind a few ads after all you're doing a lot. Well, people still complain, Skulk. Oh, people still complain. Oh, people complain about everything under the sun. Like the other day, I made the video and I told people, about something on the program. Oh, Colonel Wyatt, if explaining things to people is too much for you, then find another cause. What do you think, you're some hero? Why are you here? Yeah. At least Trump still loves us. Foot sack. Piss off, buddy. Sharks and 18 playing the Bulls. Alan, that's just messed up. Oh, still wanted to say the other day you mentioned watching The Accountant. I'm always looking for something to watch. Yes, they're excellent movies, aren't they? Ingrid, they're very good movies. Yeah, really enjoy them. Okie dokie. Gotta go, says Lorraine. All right, take care, Mosh. What's up? Can you, as a creator, choose? No, you have no say. You have no say over what kind of ads run on your program. You have no say over a lot of stuff on YouTube, but that's fine. Green boots, of course. You talking about the Jim Green boots? Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, and I'll be getting more at some point. Phoenix says, ignore them. Gee whiz, I don't know how you do it all. Well, that's the thing. So I get messages from people all the time in email, and like Helen of Troy is not here today. Helen was here yesterday saying that I never answer an email. But I've looked for an email from Helen. I don't have an email from Helen. Or that's not her real name. I searched for Helen. I don't know what her real name is. So how am I supposed to find it? I've got 2,063 unread messages in one account. I've got 10,000 unread messages in another account. It's... Anyway. But yeah, you don't know how I do it. Well, I spent a lot of time. So yesterday was Thursday. It's supposed to be my slow day, right? Well, it was the second Thursday of the month, so we had the veteran stuff. So yesterday, I did a couple videos in the morning. I did the interview. I did my news broadcast. Then I left to go get some petrol, which was smart before the war started, before the price goes up. Topped off my vehicle yesterday. That was intentional. And then came back, recorded 2 more videos, which I finally published late last night because I couldn't edit them. Then I came in here, grabbed my stuff, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was over at the Veterans Organization. We had a new vehicle with a sign put up. We took some photographs. Then I had work to do. We had a 5:30 meeting, a 6:30 meeting, a 7:30 meeting. I was done by 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, what am I doing at 9 o'clock? I'm calling the refugees who were supposedly with no phone, no food, and had been stranded in the United States. So I actually spoke to them last night for about 40 minutes to help them get through some things and sort some things out and get the facts about that situation. And then when I was done that, I was in touch with Thea about a few things. Then I came home and the war had started. So I immediately set up a stream and started collecting information to report on, videos to analyze. And then I edited these other 2 videos. And then I did a live broadcast at 11 o'clock, which went till 1:30. And when I finished at 1:30, or it was something like that, then I published those 2 videos last night. Then I went laid down at 2:30 in the morning, and I got up at 6 o'clock and started working again. And this morning I spent an hour and a half answering emails. Mostly emails that are, honestly, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not my place to answer them. It's not, I'm answering things for people out of the goodness of my heart, and I'm getting people who keep coming back and demanding more. Honestly, it's a lot of attention seeking. There's a lot of people who are just too lazy to do simple things like go to za.usmc. Google is your friend. And when I tell people, Goose, your friend, oh, you're so rude. Oh, you're so full of yourself. Really? I'm only going to live so long. Even if I live to be 105, you're eating away at my lifespan, and I'm granting my time to you, and I'm just asking you to have the basic consideration to do simple things. And people's feelings get hurt. You can never please people. So apparently there's been foot and mouth outbreaks. Yeah, in Brits, I didn't know about Brits, but it's definitely in South Africa, in Gauteng. How many mementos from South Africa do you have? Lynn, I have so many gifts from people too. I mean, just right here, a whole bunch. So there's my bear. There's my little ponies from Thea. There's my penguin. Got these mugs that were given to me on this last one here. This was a gift. There's a couple of those. This was a gift. Yeah, look at my mums, man. They're holding up. Although I think they're finally getting tired. Mementos up there. This was a gift on this trip. Celebrating 100 years of Afrikaans as an official language. This was a nice thermos given to me. It's kind. Appreciate that. I had to make sure it didn't get dented coming home. Those rugby balls, those are limited edition rugby balls. South Africa 32, England 12, and then Springboks World Cups. That one there is a numbered edition. Only 500 in the world were made. That Gilbert ball by Gilbert. Yep. A lion doesn't concern himself with opinions of sheep. Well, you say that, but lions don't deal with social media. Lions don't deal with the power of the press. Lions don't deal with people who lie and steal. So again, my point is anyway, it's not important. So lots I've got. Do you ever go to Rokana in Namibia? No, I've never been there, Debbie. Iranians, okay. You're welcome to be safe. Don't know if I keep missing your answer. Are you going to be part of the parade on Saturday? No, I'm not. I'll be staying at home. I won't be part of that. There are anti-monarchy protests going on Saturday. A bunch of lunatic leftists are pretending like Trump's a monarch, but Trump will be leaving in 3.5 years. These people are idiots. Odette, 28 Rand, thank you for that. Werner Durant says, appreciate your hard work. Love from Bethlehem. Well, thank you. Oh, little town of Bethlehem. Oh, sorry, wrong Bethlehem. Okay. Carl Johnstone says, God bless Uncle Trump. Ella Badenhorst is here. Phoenix, I know I've watched everything you do for 3 months. I'm exhausted. I'll bet. We love and enjoy, Colonel Chris says Estelle. Colonel, you are an absolute saint. You really are. Well, thank you, Sync Master. It's very kind of you guys to say that. But people just, some people just, whatever. Phoenix says, that's insane. It is insane. That's my everyday. And I also have a life too, folks. I have bills to pay. I have family to interact with. I have obligations to deal with. I'm donating 20 to 40 hours of my week every week to the Veterans Organization for free. Last year I ran for political office on top of all of this. And I have other responsibilities. I also have my consulting I still have to do. That doesn't fall by the wayside. David Henry says a roadie here. All right, well, cool. Thanks for sharing that. Just wondering if you know this one. What's this? What? Wondering if you know this. 1. I, the willing, led by the knowing, doing the impossible for the ungrateful. I have done so much with so little. I'm now qualified to do anything with nothing. That's good. No, I don't know that, Clarence. Thank you. Nella says, your life is news, news, news. Okay. Tux. I've been at Tux. No phone, I guess you use telepathy. Exactly, Teresa. Yeah, so the story says they have no phone. They have no food. They're eating the dogs or eating the cats in that place. Yeah, I know. Persians are pretty cool people. Yeah, I know. We have 800,000 of them in America. I'm busy. Take some time for yourself. Well, Ingrid, the moment I take time for myself, people stop watching my program and we stop growing. We're trying to grow an audience here. So we're safely over the 100,000 mark now, but we've got a ways to go. So long way to 1 million. So yeah. Yeah, and you see it in the stats. I mean, my stats collapsed this past week. I went from 327,000 views on May 21st per day to just 50,000 on Monday. That's 1/6 the number of views. Yep, back up to 100,000, but 100,000 is a good day. But yeah, so with the fewer views comes less ad revenue. Not that I'm doing it for that, but also fewer people discover the channel. That's true. So for instance, let me take a look here. So on Monday, just 2,500 new people watched one of my videos, just 2,500. That means usually, Mike, if you have a really good channel, you might get 1% subscribers for every group of viewers. So if there's 100 people, I might get one. So that would really be just a chance to get 25 subscribers, 25 new subscribers. But I actually did better than that on Monday, the 9th of June. Let me see how many I got. So a good performance would get me 25. 1% conversion rate is pretty good. So let me take a look at subscribers on Monday. Live count. Monday was, what's the Monday? The 9th? No, 10th. Monday was the 9th. Okay. The 9th was 8th. 8th I had 100,549, and then I got 91 subscribers that day. A good day would have been 25. 91 is terrible. I mean, but given how few people were exposed to my videos, it's pretty good. Okay. Show the bugger off bunny. Did you bring my paintings with? Yes, Lindy, they're here. They're here. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I haven't shown them yet. When I become a refugee in the U.S. Oh, when you become a refugee, you can be an assistant. You work for free. Where's Cyril the penguin? He's sitting right down there on the floor. Look, I took down a lot of the stuffed animals because it was coming more like a 12-year-old girl's room here. I had too many stuffed animals. I've still got my Springbok up there, or that means the goat up there, and then Pikachu is over here, right behind me. So right behind me. But I had so many stuffed animals up there. It was time to take a few of them down. I'll put them up occasionally, but not. I was just getting out of control. I do need a guard board. Hey, Hank, Adrian say, Hank's been around a long time. There's an OG. House Refugee Program, yeah. Yeah, everybody keeps saying Neil DeBeer is going to the U.S., but Neil hasn't come. He was supposed to come here 2 months ago. Don't all the deals bad performance played a criminal late against Malema? Oh. Oh, that's good. Christy Walton. Yeah, she's an idiot. Rich people with money they should never have. No, Rex says, you're right. You can never please all the people all the time, and you shouldn't try. No, I don't do stripper chats. Lynn, how's it going? Thank you for all your work. Your work, Carl Johnstone. You're welcome, Carl Johnstone. My pleasure. You're so busy you need a garden boy. True. Okay. Good news, my end today. After all, it's not spread from liver to colon. Targeting scan next. Well, congratulations, Aaron. So that's good news to hear. I hit the like button and comment on each and every video. Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that very much. I'm fully searching Chris Wyatt daily to keep up with all the interviews you're doing. It's a lot. I can't imagine the hours you put in. Well, it's a lot. And, you know, the good news for me is I have such a diverse background. I've done so many things and have experience in so many different fields. Plus, I'm analytically oriented. I analyze things holistically when I see them and try to get to the root causes, the motivations, the underlying factors, the contributing factors, the branches and sequels, what could happen. So that's just naturally how I do things. Because without that ability, I couldn't possibly do all this stuff because, I mean, a lot of stuff I don't have to research. I already know it. I have to go and confirm my facts sort of thing. Yep. United States drilling oil on our own soil yet? I don't know. Vegas Gold Knights. Yeah, the Vegas Gold Knights are out of it. That's awesome of you. Would you understood if you didn't? Because Lindy says, that's awesome of you. Would have understood if you didn't because you got so many gifts. No, I've got it here, Lindy. I'll show it eventually. I mean, I got so many gifts. I mean, I had to buy a suitcase and fill it. And getting your paintings here wasn't easy. In fact, I almost forgot them in a hotel, by the way. I think I told you that. Or was it in a car? But someone handed them to me. I think it was in a rental car. I almost forgot them. So I had to carry them all over the country. Is there anyone in the chat that got an appointment for an interview? Morse, yes. There are people who got appointments for interviews. I've talked to several of them. Yep. Justine says good night. Okay, everybody's leaving. Hubby in hospital for 3 days. Has neighbors diagnosed with lung cancer. Oh, gosh. We send you your videos to our family. Well, thank you for that, Estelle. I appreciate that. Tell them to become subscribers. Hey, Tony Nage is in from Canada. How's it going, man? And Sonia Gare, thank you for the 114 rands. As a family, we learn so much from the apart refugee stuff. Yeah, well, there's a lot we talk about here, not just refugee stuff. Devet Martins, Neil should rather go to the commie benefactors. Doctors question me about the length of work history and possible exposure. Oof. Yeah, cancer is not good stuff, folks. All right, be sure to hit the like button for the 700 people still here. We haven't reached 1,000 likes. Bummer. Haven't reached 1,000 likes, man. The battery's dying on my like button.
That was easy.
Yeah. Go in the hospital. Gee, many Christmas. I hope it's nothing serious. I'm glad you're much better, healing well, and able to walk normally. Who, you, Tony? I'm not walking normally. Yeah, Ben, how's it going? No, my channel has been severely throttled over the years too, but we managed to get to 100,000 in the past few months, so we'll take it. Sodium cyanide, ammonia, asbestos, graphite powder. That's all bad stuff. All right, guys. Israel pummeling Iran, and Trump warning Iran not to attack Americans or American friends. Yes, and tomorrow, the Blue Bulls in Leinster, in Dublin, taking on Leinster for the United Rugby Championship. This is the 4th championship in the URC. This is the 4th time there's been at least one South African side in the final. It'll make the 5th South African team to appear in a final in 4 years. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, we've won just one championship. And winning against Leinster in Ireland is not an easy task. But I'm hoping the Bulls can pull it off. All right, guys. All right. Y'all take care. Bulls 31, Leinster 20. I hope you're right, Conrad. Hope you're right. I picked the Bulls in Super hoping for the best. All right, catch you all later. Have a good evening. I'm going to go make my video about the ANC's silence, which is a bit shocking to say the least. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the viewership. Appreciate it. Y'all take care of yourselves. Cheers.